everyone, welcome back to the Three Sisters in a Van's Australia-wide travels. Today we're going to talk about our Nullarbor crossing from South Australia into Western Australia.
We are pretty big, pretty iconic.
Yep, something that we'd spoken about a lot before we had left home, I guess, and a lot of people asked about. So it's not an incredibly long time trip, but it's,
it's not
a long distance.
It is a long distance.
And it's pretty daunting as well, I think.
It is a little bit, but then I think we had lots of people trying to give us lots of advice too beforehand, and some of it conflicting.
Oh yeah, there was lots of petrol.
That wind direction,
to
temperatures,
making your own ice, and all kinds of things. So we'll break down as to what we did and how we crossed and where we stopped. So in case anyone wants to follow in our footsteps a little bit, but yeah.
But like everything else, we kept it pretty simple. Yep,
pretty simple. So I guess we started off our Nullarbor trip in Streaky Bay, didn't we?
Well, you could say that, yes.
Yeah, so we did our big grocery stock up in Streaky Bay.
We did, yes, because a lot of people choose to start the Nullarbor. Well, I mean, the Nullarbor technically starts after Ceduna. So a lot of people start there, kind of travel from Ceduna, and they stock up there. Some caravan parks and shops, but yeah, we decided we'd heard nice things about a caravan park in Penong, and we were going to do our shop at Streaky Bay and then start at Penong.
Yeah, so we did stop in Ceduna just to go to the toilet and have lunch, and we didn't stop and do our shop there or stay there overnight. So yeah, we drove from Streaky Bay with a caravan full of food. Very full of food. Which probably wasn't the cheapest shop in the world. It
definitely wasn't, but I mean, unless you stopped up at Port Lincoln, right down the bottom, a massive shop.
Especially if you've just done the Eyre Peninsula. If you've just gone from Port Augusta, it's probably not too bad. But yeah, because we come from the south, we did that. We stopped at Penong, which was excellent, highly recommended stop. Caravan park there was fantastic. Great facilities, not very busy. We bumped into a couple of Tasmanians while we were there, which was cool as well.
We did. Just like a family run caravan park. It's not kind of all the bells and whistles. It's pretty basic.
Cheap as well, not expensive. Yeah, they're not anywhere near as expensive as some of the other ones we've run into.
No, washing and drying was really cheap there. It was just very really nice, good. Very comfortable.
So if you do stop in Penong, there are some pretty cool things close by. So the first one was Cactus Beach.
Yes, which had been recommended by a local. Yeah, and it's a surf beach, so pretty wild.
There was lots of surfing going on there. We just went for a dip.
Some lovely rocks.
On the way out there, you get to see the really awesome pink lake. So
yeah, Lake McDonald.
Yep. Really cool shots from the air, from the sky. So we got the drone out and got some nice footage of that.
It's amazing the difference. I mean, I took photos from the ground level, and it kind of looks pinkish, but when you see it from the drone, it's completely different, isn't it?
From the air, yeah. So you'll see some shots of that. We had fun, getting a few videos there, and also around Penong is
it's the Windmill Museum.
The Windmill Museum. So I was expecting a big building with lots of things. Information. So I don't know what you were expecting.
I don't know. But it was just right opposite from the Penong Caravan Park, so you can just walk across the road. It's really easy. You don't have to pay. You just walk in and have a look. It's just some windmills.
You just walk around them.
Yeah.
They're just out there in the open.
Just windmills. You can kind of have a look at all the different kinds. Cool. They give you the ages of them and where they've come from and what they were used for. And
pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
So that was a good. We did that on the morning we left.
We did.
Yeah. So that was our start of our official Nullarbor journey. And then we're off.
Oh, here we are. Say hi. Here we are. Just starting our adventure, our journey across the Nullarbor, which is actually looking pretty green at the moment still. Isn't it, girls?
Yes.
So what's our plan?
What's our plan? Our plan
Just to cross.
is to cross. Yeah, our plan is to make it. No, we left Penong. We left Penong this morning, so we were already on the Nullarbor technically, and we're heading towards Bundercliffs, Border Village, somewhere like that tonight. So it's going to be a big drive.
So we're going to go 3 days, 2 nights.
3 days, 2 nights is the plan. Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily we have some friends with us in front of us who are going to do the trip with us.
We do. We're doing it with another family.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to when you're crossing the Nullarbor, girls?
Seeing emus,
Yep.
seeing kangaroos, seeing wombats.
Wombats.
Yeah,
Oh.
all about the wildlife.
There we go. Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes open. Wish us luck.
We're off across the Nullarbor with a full tank of fuel.
Well, we did a few things to prepare.
Yeah,
Before we kind of.
so that was one. So we did stock up with fuel at Penong because it was one of the last cheap, reasonably priced petrol stations.
So we filled up the car, and we also had.
Filled up the car with water.
Tank.
Yep.
What's it called?
Yeah, we had a jerry can. So we had one diesel jerry can. Probably could have done with 2 filled up. And we had our water jerry cans also filled up.
Yep.
So we had plenty of fuel, full tank and 2 full jerry cans and lots of water.
Yeah, we had the both tanks in the caravan filled up with
Yeah,
water. We had the jerry cans on the back, and we'd also bought some water. We had some boxes of water in the caravan as well.
Yeah,
Because you can at some places get a little bit of water across the Nullarbor.
Yeah.
Very, very few places. But it's expensive.
for the most part, yeah, you kind of just try and take your own water and not use theirs because those guys are living out there in the dry for the most part, and it's
expensive,
and you don't
it's
need to be
also,
using that water.
it's also unreliable. You wouldn't want to rely on it and get halfway
No,
across and
that's
realise
right.
you didn't have access to it.
Yeah.
All right, let's give the sucker a test drive.
Yeah, so preparation was pretty key for when you do cross the Nullarbor.
Yeah.
I guess there's long stretches between things. There's really nothing in between roadhouses.
No.
So pretty important to have a way of communicating to someone if you need help. So we have a UHF radio installed. Some people have satellite phones.
Yep.
We just had the UHF, which we didn't have to use, which is great.
No.
Another thing for safety, if you're concerned about crossing, was crossing with someone.
Yeah, we chose to cross the Nullarbor with another travelling family that we'd met, and we get along really beautifully with, and lovely friends with, and so that was a really nice. That was a really fun thing to do, and the kids really enjoyed doing it that way as well.
Yep.
So they set themselves up with walkie-talkies between the 2 cars, and they had a little schedule on the hour.
Yeah.
That they would have 5
Couldn't do
minutes
it
on the walkie-talkie.
all the time because it just would have been mayhem and
Yes.
too much chatter.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was good, and they look forward to that every hour, which is great.
Helps to kind of keep the time moving. I mean, another thing we did obviously was stock up on food. I mean, yes, you can if you wanted to, buy food at the Nullarbor roadhouses along the way.
And people do that. They stop for meals and support the locals.
Yep.
I don't think we bought too much along there because we were pretty well stocked. But
No, yes.
we did stop regularly and get fuel though. So at most stops we would top up.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, if the next roadhouse will be closed or have run out of fuel or won't have power or anything.
Well,
like
we did have that happen at one.
Yeah.
Because we were pretty much stopping at everyone and just doing a little top up. And which one was it?
It was towards the end, I think, that one.
Yeah.
So we just kept topping up, and again the money goes hopefully towards the local the establishments that keep it up and running. So
yeah. But obviously there's not really fresh produce available at roadhouses out there if you want to be having fruit and vegetables to kind of cook or eat. And
things are a bit more expensive as well, so
definitely
because it takes it's harder to get stuff out there.
Yeah. But we were quite organised with food because yes, you will still want to be able to eat fresh food, but you also need to make sure that you've gotten rid of it and used it all up by the time you do the border crossings. So
we'll get to
food
that.
is something to think about.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll go through our stops. And the last thing we did was we just made sure that the caravan was pretty well serviced before we crossed. So the car was right, but we just put the caravan in for a quick going over with the mechanic. So just for peace of mind for us.
Yeah, and they were probably the basics, but I mean to make
so that's your preparation.
Well, but then to make the trip enjoyable. We were pretty organised with the girls.
Oh yeah, probably the most important thing for our sanity.
Because we didn't want to have
parents'
people
sanity.
crying
Yes, having
across
activities
the
for kids.
Nullarbor.
So what did we have? We had
well, we had the UHF radios, and so that was one thing, which was a great start. But we also had some activities, you know, in the car for the girls. So they mostly set themselves up with lots of things. Obviously, they had books to read, but they've got some little trays in the back of the car, and they had colouring pencils. I think they had knitting. They had some little plasticine. They were doing playing with modelling clay.
Yep.
A big one. We had audiobooks downloaded because we didn't have very much service very often. So we had kind of anything that we wanted downloaded, pre-downloaded.
Stocked up on Borrow Box audiobooks.
Yes, so we
free.
had hours and hours of audiobooks.
Library cards all you need, and you can borrow books as long as they're available, which is great.
Yeah, so we listened to many an audiobook across the Nullarbor.
So yeah, that kept them occupied.
Lots of singing.
Yeah, lots
of snacks.
Yes,
plenty of snacks
plenty
packed.
of snacks as well. So
yeah,
and that was the kids sorted.
Yeah, and making
Activities
sure that
and
whenever
food.
we stopped for petrol, we also had a toilet stop.
Yeah. We didn't have any emergency stops, which is good.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
So I guess we can talk about our stops now. Where we stopped along the way. We hadn't planned too many sightseeing stops. There was a couple of spots that we did want to look at.
But they were more going to be kind of just a quick stop and have a look and then continue on. So we didn't really allocate huge amounts of time for those.
It was more about where we were going to camp for the night. So the first day we drove for.
We kind of planned our stops based on how far we thought we could travel.
It was about 4 hours each day is what we were hoping for. That's about our limit.
Yeah.
And the first day we did a stop at the head of Bight for a quick look.
We did. And
stopped for fuel at Yalata, which was the last of the cheapest fuel after Penong, so we did a top up there. And then we stopped that night at the Bunda Cliffs.
We did.
Not too close to the Bunda Cliffs, but we stopped close enough to be close.
Yeah, we stopped at the campsite, but we didn't park our van on the edge of the cliff.
And when you say campsite, there's lots of campsites along there. We passed multiple turn-ups before we got to our one.
Yeah, so I think that was one thing.
Not just the one that we were camped at, where there was probably 30 campsites, but there was other stops where there were probably other 30
and we weren't sure before we left. You're thinking, if we get there and there's not a spot for us, we're gonna have to keep going or turn around and go back a little bit. But we never had a problem with. There was just so much space and so much, there was. That's certainly nothing to worry about.
And we camped way back on. I forget which peg it was, but it's how far I guess you are from the border. So it was like peg 38 or something like that.
38k peg. Yeah.
38k, but just awesome going out for a walk, getting the drone up and having a look just how sheer the cliffs are.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty wild.
How wild it is. We were lucky we didn't have much wind.
No, we were very lucky.
The kids were kept on a tight leash, so when we went for a walk,
yes.
Yeah, but there were caravans parked like right up to the edge.
Like a couple of metres.
But I don't think where we were was undercut as badly as some other sections. No, not where we were. Where the caravans were parked.
Possibly.
That were there also.
Maybe.
But it didn't look like it was that badly undercut. Because
I wasn't going to test it out.
I think they've closed those ones down. So anyway, if you're game, you can get close. we won't though. And so we got up. That was 400 k's, pretty much from Penong to that stop, and just over probably 5 hours with the stops included, around about. So not a bad day of travel. And the next day we got up. The first thing we did was the border crossing, so we had to go through the quarantine. Yep. We thought we'd sorted everything out and got everything out that we should have had.
There were two things. One, we found a dodgy bit of
Yeah.
wilted lettuce.
Technically, it's illegal in this country. Smuggled it back from Paris.
It's left
Yeah.
at the back
Which
of
I
the fridge.
did ask, did you clear out? And you said yes.
I thought I had.
And underneath the bed, we had a box with some stuff in it, and it was actually an apple box. And they can't have that going into
Used
Western
fruit
Australia.
boxes, yeah.
Yeah, so we had to get rid of those, but that was all right. We didn't get fined. The guy
The
was
gentleman
very
was very
nice.
lovely.
Yeah, he was.
gave us a replacement box
He
for
did.
our apple
He did.
box.
He
which
had
was
to dodge
nice.
around all the stuff in our caravan like a contortionist because we just pack everything
That's
in there when we're
right.
traveling.
That's right. And the cats were in
But-
there, and he was climbing over
Yeah,
them.
but that was all good. We got through there pretty good.
Yeah, it was easy.
And just stopped just after Eucla. So there was this is probably one of our main longest stops along the way to have a look at.
Have a big walk.
At the telegraph station. So if you go over the border crossing, you can go to Eucla and drive down to the beach.
The old telegraph station.
Yep. So
I don't know what I expected. I
Hmm.
think I expected more to be remaining of the old telegraph station.
it's just an old brick building that used to be there,
Well, there's not very much.
Covered-
There's not very much left of the.
covered in sand. And we missioned out to the beach, which is a fair half-hour walk out to the beach to see an old jetty, and the old jetty's only a couple of posts sticking out of the water. But it was good, nice
it
beach.
was, it was beautiful beach.
If we had had swimmers, we would have gone for a swim, but we didn't.
Yeah.
So it was worth a bit
It was
of
a good
visit.
walk.
Yeah,
It was good
yeah.
to get out and do some walking
Yeah.
and moving around.
And then we did that, and we jumped back in the car and continued our travels. And we stopped at
Yeah.
Mundrabilla for some petrol. Next up, there's a few hundred k's down the road, and there's a museum there as well.
Yes.
You went to the museum
Yeah,
with
we
the
went
girls?
in. Yeah, they had a bit of a look around about meteor, an asteroid that had landed at some stage somewhere. So that was interesting.
That was you girls were
Yeah.
got some stuff out of that.
Yep.
And then we kept going and hit the longest straight road in Australia after that, didn't we? It's like
We did.
100 and something kilometres. It's a long straight.
It
So
just
the
keeps
longest
going.
straight, it was long. And you get your first bend, you're like, oh, what is this curvy bit of road here?
Yeah.
It was very exciting when we hit a curve eventually. But not a hard road to drive. Once you get into Western Australia, the roads widen and it was pretty nice to drive on. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once we finished the long road, we got to the Madura Roadhouse stop, which had no power.
No
FPOS.
FPOS.
Luckily, we've been topping up along the way for fuel, so we didn't have to stop there. And we did make it into Cocklebiddy that night.
Yeah. So that was
So
the
that,
plan.
and that was another long day of travelling. So day 2 was about
About
300 k's, but we had a long stop in.
We did.
A long
Walk.
sightseeing tour in the
Yep.
middle, which extended our day. But
Yep.
we had 2 hours extra of time, 2.5 hours extra of time when we crossed over the border, so that was all right.
Yeah, we were all
Yeah.
very confused with the time at that stage.
Yeah, and we didn't actually stop in Cocklebiddy. We stopped at the petrol station there and topped up, but we drove about 15 k's out.
Yeah.
And stayed at a bush camp
Yep.
just outside, which was nice. There had been a lot of rain before we'd come through the week before.
I found all the bush camps on the Nullarbor
Yeah.
were beautiful.
Yeah, that was
It was
great.
really nice.
Yeah, there's no toilets or showers, but they're
no
just quiet.
facilities,
And,
yeah.
yeah, there wasn't too many people there, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So we stayed about 15 k's out, and got up the last morning for probably our longest day because we
Yeah.
wanted to get to Norseman. So
Yep.
we set off. And we hadn't really planned to stop, but as we got closer, we decided we were going to stay at the Jimbalana Hills.
Yep.
And we stayed there for 2 nights. So it was about 430 k's from Cocklebiddy to Jimbalana Hills, which is about 5 kilometres outside of Norseman.
East of Norseman. Yep.
Yeah. So before you get into Norseman, you
And
stop
it's a
there.
really beautiful spot, actually.
It was
Jimbalana
great,
Hill.
yeah,
There was
yeah.
a beautiful walk up.
There was a
the
nice,
rock.
beautiful hill
Yep.
that we went up one morning with the girls.
Yep.
And just another quiet bushy camp. Like it's kind of on the highway, but we can park far enough back, so it's
Yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah, the kids had a great time. Like there were sticks and trees, and they made
Yeah,
bush
yeah.
camps.
And again, they had their friends with them, so they just
Yeah,
had lots of fun, didn't they?
That's it. Playing in the
Yeah.
dirt and building teepees.
Yeah. So and they were our 3 stops. So Bunda Cliffs, Cocklebiddy, and Jimbalana Hill at Norseman.
Yep.
And
And we chose
overall,
to stay a couple of nights at Jimbalana Hill at the end there, didn't we?
yeah. So we stayed 2 nights, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did.
and went into Norseman and got some food because
Yep.
the IGA there was pretty good.
Yeah, the IGA was,
Yep.
I had thought it would be much more expensive given the location and
Yeah.
given everyone kind of just comes off the Nullarbor and lands there and is in desperate need of
And there's-
supplies, but they were pretty good.
And there's not many people at Norseman either, so to have a good IGA is great.
Yeah.
And they also have a free swimming pool, so a community swimming
Yep.
pool, which
Yep.
we jumped in one day and had a good swim and a refresh, which was lovely. So a free swimming pool.
Free swimming pool,
If you-
free cold showers.
Yeah.
If you wanted to have a hot shower, you went and got a little
Yep.
$2 token,
Yep.
which was great. They also had water that you could top up there. So again, just $2 tokens for an amount of water
Yep.
to top up.
Very reasonably priced. It was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
a
Pretty
well-positioned
yeah.
laundromat right beside the pool there. So we did our
Yep.
laundry. We
Yep.
kind of really just got on top of things again after we'd crossed.
Yeah, and if you want to stay in there, there's a rec ground you can stay at,
Yes.
which is just in the town itself, which is very, very cheap. But we decided to stay outside. So
Yeah, it
just
was because we
outside.
liked where we were.
yeah, we did. Yeah,
We
it was
did.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And just drive in. And that was our Nullarbor trip done in 3 nights, 3 stopovers.
Yep.
Pretty cruisy.
Yep.
Yeah, it was not as bad as we thought, not as dry as we thought.
No. it
Maybe
was-
because it had been flooding before, I don't know, but we were expecting lots of dust.
Well, there had been
Sand.
wild weather before. They'd had
Yeah.
bushfires and floods.
Yeah.
But it was actually quite green.
Yeah.
It was beautiful
Yep.
scenery to drive past.
Yeah.
Sometimes you were quite close to the actual cliffs. You were driving along, you could just see the edge of Australia just dropping
Yeah.
off there.
And
It was pretty
didn't-
amazing.
Didn't see too much wildlife, probably because we were driving in the middle of the day and not early or late.
Yes.
But that's all right.
That was the disappointment, I think,
Um,
for the girls.
And I guess the one thing I guess was a bit hairy was the amount of road trains and the trucks that come past.
Something
So,
to get used to.
and the wide load trucks as well. So there was lots and lots of road trains. You just make sure you hang to the far left-hand side as you possibly can when you go past them, and just be cautious. And I think we started on about 80 or 90 k's an hour the whole way, and it wasn't an issue. People overtook us, and we gave them room.
Yep.
But apart from that, it was pretty cruisy.
Flies. There were
There
some
and the
flies.
yeah.
We hadn't yet, and we still
Wasn't-
haven't yet gotten
Only in
our
some
fly
spots.
nets.
Yeah. Some
and,
parts were.
and there was
fly
probably
friendly.
really only one afternoon. I think I remember it being quite flyy.
But fly nets if you got them. Yeah, you'll use them
You
at some
might want to
stage.
use them.
Yeah, yep. They're very fashionable. I can't wait.
But for all of the information and advice we've been given, and lots of about being prepared, and about the wind and the temperature and the everything else.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier than I had
Yeah.
anticipated. It was a lot less remote than I thought it would be, which is a good thing. It's like it's certainly a very manageable drive to do.
And there's plenty of cars and people driving around and
Yes.
past. So maybe we felt better because we had another family travelling with us. I don't know.
I don't know, but there was still
It was
plenty of
pretty good.
spots, stopping, and there were people at roadhouses, and
Yeah, it was great. Yep.
I really enjoyed
Just
it.
long, but enjoyable. I
Yep.
mean, you make the most of it, don't you? So,
I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty beautiful.
Yep. So Western Australia, we are in, and
That let us in.
Next stop's down to Esperance.
Yes.
And then we'll see where we end up after that. So hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you next video.
Bye.
See ya.